Hello, TJ Bellotti here again. Sorry about the unshaven look. It's the end of a holiday weekend and I haven't shaved. So the reason why I wanted to stop by today is this. It's January 3rd, 2016. In 12 months from right now, it's going to be January 3rd, 2017. We are all going to end up there. January 3rd, 2017. The question is, are you going to be where you want to be in your personal life or your professional life? This has more to do with your professional life, but they all end up working together. Let's be honest. So my question is this. What have you done? Have you sat down and made a plan for 2016 so that you can dictate where you are on January 3rd, 2017? Because last year, if you didn't dictate where you'd be today, you're somewhere else. Think about that sentence for a second. If you don't decide where you're going to be in 12 months, you're going to end up somewhere else. Because life will decide where you're going to go. Everything around you will decide where you are. You won't have the input because you haven't decided where you want to be. Is it important that your football team makes the Super Bowl? Nope. But you're going to sit around on Sunday and watch the football game. Is it important that we spend huge portions of our time watching Grey's Anatomy or binging on Person of Interest on Netflix? Nope. Because none of that stuff matters. But how many of us spend hours every day chasing the things that are unimportant, but yet we make them important by giving them all of our time? What you need to do is sit down. And I don't mean sit down next Thursday and do this. I mean, as soon as you're done watching this video, take out a piece of paper and start writing down some thoughts that you have of things you'd like to do. I don't mean professionally. I mean everything. Do you want to read a certain book? Do you want to go to a certain beach for vacation? Do you want to own a certain car? Do you want to buy a new sports jacket? Do you want to buy a certain pair of boots? Do you want to learn a new language? Do you want to start your own business? Which obviously, that's ultimately what I'm getting at here. But you need to have an idea of what you're going to spend your next 12 months doing. Because if you don't spend your next 12 months doing what you want, you're going to end up spending your next 12 months doing what somebody else wants. And they don't care about you. They don't care about your happiness. They don't care about your ultimate experience in life. They don't care about how much money you make. They don't care about you at all. But they're going to dictate where you end up. So what I always do every year, and I've already been doing it for a week, and I'm going to do it for another week, is I sit down and I review all of my goals from last year, both personally and professionally. I write new goals for this year. And then I start planning for those goals. Let me give you an example. Since I was probably about 19 and in college, because that's how long I've been a nerd, I sat down every year on New Year's and I reviewed my goals from last year and I wrote new ones for next year. I usually cut my paper into 4 pieces, 4 sections. I didn't actually cut it. I put a line, like a plus. In one section I put family goals or personal goals. Other section I put spiritual goals. Other section I put professional goals, and in the 4th section I put financial goals. That's how I broke my 4 goals down. Now, spiritual doesn't mean necessarily any specific religion. It doesn't mean anything more than how do you want to perceive the world and how do you want to educate yourself in that vein. If that means in a religious sense, that's great. If you want to get into yoga, that's great. But whatever that personal part is, you need that in your life. You need to make personal improvements every year. Do I want to get a grown-up haircut because I've been wearing a mullet for 20 years and no one wears mullets anymore? Then put it on your list. Your professional goals. Not professional. Everyone thinks, well, professional, that means I must wear a suit and tie to work. I haven't worn a suit and tie to work in 25 years. In fact, I often wear a t-shirt and a sweatshirt. So professional goals means what you want to do on your job where you earn money. If you're a food server, then maybe one of your goals is to be the most courteous and on-time food server that year so that you can make higher tips than everybody else in the restaurant. That's an awesome goal. If your profession is you working for a landscape company and you want to start your own landscape company on the side, that's a great business goal. If you think I would love to be a photographer, but I don't really know what I'm doing with a camera, maybe a professional goal would be to take a photography class. Or maybe that's a personal goal. Maybe you don't want to do it for money. Maybe instead you just want to learn to take nice photos to put in your family albums. Let me give you a couple examples. A few years back, one of my goals was to become proficient with a bow and arrow. I bought a bow, bought some arrows, started shooting it, hunted a few years. Don't give me any hard time about hunting, by the way. I hunted for a few years, was very successful at it, and now I'm not as interested as I used to be. But I have a portion that of my history that I was able to develop, but only because I wrote a goal. One of the things that had been on my goal list since literally I was 20 years old, that was like 25 years ago, 27 years ago, was to buy a new camera and get into photography. In high school, I was really into photography, and I got out of it in college, but then I always wanted to go back to it. 3 years ago, I finally bought a camera. I carried that goal forward for 23 years until I finally did it. And now it is a huge portion of my recreational time. Sometimes when I have very little else going on, I grab my camera and I go on out and look for some things to take photos of. I golfed all through high school and college, and then about 10 years after that until I was about 30. And then I got married. And then the golf clubs went in the basement, and I didn't golf for 10 years. I put on my goal list to get back into golfing about 5 years ago. Now it is one of the things that I do at least once a week. It is a passion that I absolutely love. I suck at it. Don't get me wrong. I'll never get paid for anything that has to do with golf. But I love to spend my time at it. The only reason I do it is because I put it on a piece of paper. Once you write it down and you check that every day and you look at it and you say, here's my plan to get there, it becomes real. If you want to start a business, begin thinking, what do I want to do? Begin writing down the goal of where you would like to be on January 3rd, 2017. Just get out a piece of paper right now in about 7 seconds. Start writing things down you'd love to do. Don't put filters on it. Don't say, well, I can't do this because I'm not tall enough, and I can't do this because I'm not rich enough, and I don't care. Because someday you might be rich enough. Might not have to be tall. Maybe we change that somehow. Just get out a piece of paper, write down some of your goals, the things that you would dream to love to do. At some point, we're going to pull those back out, and we're going to start talking about them. Actually, a lot sooner than later. So take some time today. Start planning where you want to end up in life. Because if you don't figure it out, somebody else is going to figure it out for you, and you're not going to like where you end up. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.